This week on Eyrie, we look forward to what St Helens going to look like next year, go over the trauma-inducing Connacht game, and preview the first half of our double-header against the Scarlets. Stay tuned. Good evening, ladies and gents. I'm joined by Nick, Grant, Josh, as always. How are we doing, gents?
Yeah,
I'm
just
absolutely fine, thank you. It's a bit more relaxed than it was on Saturday evening.
my heart's okay again now. Yeah,
Yeah, ditto. Same there.
we're saying that far too often, aren't we?
Yeah, yeah.
I,
We've had a
th
couple.
I think we're just getting what life is like as a Cardiff fan for diversity reasons. It's good to know, but that's it's been a stressful week, I'd say. Lots of things going on in Welsh rugby. Obviously, there was a debate last night, which was, I don't think we'll go into today, but it was certainly worth a watch. And I'd recommend it to all of those who haven't watched already or found an English language variant. It's interesting and also somehow deeply embarrassing for most of the people on there, apart from Lauren Jenkins, who was superb as always, to be fair.
Brilliant. She's brilliant.
Either way, let's move on into the news. Starting off this week, as well, the only main piece of news, with Ospreys has signed George McGuigan as temporary hooker cover. The former Gloucester, Newcastle, and Leicester hooker joined the club on a short-term contract. At his most recent stint at Gloucester, he played 26 times in his 3 years, scoring 7 tries, which is, you know what, pretty good strike rate. At that sort of strike rate, he might get half of Sam Perry's assists. But what do we think of that one, gents?
Yeah, I think he's obviously a top hooker. I know quite a few Gloucester fans were gutted to see him go because he was quite unlucky with injuries over there. But it's a strange one because it's a position I think most of us would agree we're pretty stacked in already. We've probably got five quality hookers, so it wasn't necessarily uh, a position we needed. But I do think when he gets an opportunity to play, it'll be great for us. It'll be quality.
Suggests there's something unknown, isn't it, in terms of the fitness levels of what we've got at the moment.
That's,
Yeah, I think with Lewis Lloyd obviously been injured, but my understanding is, that he is hoping to get back before the end of the season. So yeah, it does perhaps put a question mark over either Ethan Lewis or maybe even Dewi. I don't know how. I just took it that Dewi was having a week off from the sort of stress of getting back to playing for Wales, and I was hoping that Dewi, maybe might well be when we come to discuss, possible team for Saturday, will come back into the reckoning.
Yeah,
might
it's
just
one of those where I think we could have done with him a few weeks ago at Leinster when we ended up having a uni lad replace as a replacement at hooker. It's like, well, it's probably a few weeks too late now, and now it's probably not necessarily needed. But yeah, as you say, we don't necessarily know the fitness of all the hookers, so we'll see.
think there's a few question marks around fitness at the moment. We did get some injury news after the Connacht game, where seemingly everyone in the pack died. But let's start off with good news, Matt. Reece Davis looks like he's coming back. He's spotted in the warm-up at the weekend, which can only be good news going forward, given how much of a piece of work he has been when he's been fit.
Yeah, it'd be great if he's approaching, you know, fitness to play. That can only strengthen our running and our availability. Obviously, we picked up a few injuries. Fender in particular, I would doubt is going to be involved this weekend. And obviously, possibly there's a question mark over the weekend and after, depending how he gets on with his HIA protocols. So that would be absolutely superb if Reece Davis is back in the reckoning.
I think it certainly helps bolster things. But there's also been news about Will Spencer, who picks up a knock in the Glasgow game, but seemingly coming back in the next week or two, hopefully.
Yeah, he was in the interview, did an interview in the supporters club. And if you ever get the chance to go to the supporters club, there's a fabulous band who play there before and after the game. Grant, do you want to say anything more about the band before I go on to talk about Will Spencer?
band speaks for itself normally, or sings for itself. Yeah, we do our damnedest to make a good day of it, okay, and where we can, I bring my mates along, and we are a real band. We're not just it's not entirely ad-libbed on the spot, yeah, but yeah, it's about trying to make it into like a proper rugby club, isn't it, for the day? That's what we're trying to do in the Riverside.
It's great. Anyway, on a serious note, Will Spencer came along. He did pick up a knock in the Glasgow game. He's approaching fitness. He's hoping to be involved in training, full training this week. And if not this week, he'll be definitely fine for the second of the Scarlets games.
I mean,
That's-
let's say, with Adam Beard coming back, it looks like we're not really struggling at lock as much we were earlier this season.
It's just good timing, isn't it? Really,
Yeah.
we got. It's bad when you look at the way that James Fender left the pitch, and it's almost just as well that Adam Beard has reappeared at the right time. Rhys Davis is coming back, so yeah, when you can afford to live without some of these players for for a good few games, it shows we've genuinely got a bit of strength in the second row right now, when we can still put out two really good quality second rows in each game.
Absolutely.
They could even free up Ratty to get a bit more game time in the back row as well. If you wanted a slightly bigger six and play a slightly different style of play, means you could have another line-out option as well. So yeah, gives us plenty of options anyway.
In other injury news, Ruben looks like he's out for a little bit. His shoulder, which is a shame because he was in really good form at the start of the season. But at the same time, we have Leaky Dye to come back in and get some game time, some big games. He was excellent last season, Leaky Dye, especially I think the derbies against Cardiff around New Year's last year, where he just sort of took a mick out of Thomas Williams. So it'd be nice to see him back in a little bit. There's still question marks about how Tips is getting on. Went off on Saturday of a back spasm, which is unusual, but it looked like, to be honest, I just thought he went off because we thought the game was done and we didn't really need to risk him. We're gonna miss him. We are gonna miss him though because he's been fucking awesome this season. Moving on, there's more issues in the front row. Tom Bofa gone off, dead leg, could be worse, but unreleased short moment. Still question marks around Gavin Phillips as well. Went off, not really sure what's going on. Sam Lewis seems to be out of the picture with George McGuigan coming in. And then leaving just Kieran, who's went off after that horrific tackle. Should have been a red, quite frankly. But somehow was up and walking the changing room afterwards. So, but for all he knows, he could have completely shattered his knee in two pieces, and that man still run into a brick wall.
Yeah, and obviously Mark mentioned in the interview afterwards, didn't he, that Kalevu was not injured. He was just away for family, personal reasons. So he was hoping perhaps he might be involved soon. And obviously nice to see Phil Coppasinger back. So even if, Kieran is off for a little bit, hopefully not too long, we do have some further options in the centre as well.
Just say Owen Williams is still running about, and when he
Yeah.
last played 12, it was Powell away, and quite frankly, he was awesome that day. I wouldn't be.
We're looking at some new centre combinations, though. When you look at, we've had Kieran and Owen Watkin as our mainstays for a long time. Okay, we're not going to see that again this season. We're not going to see either of them probably for the rest of the season. Fingers crossed, Kieran's okay, and he'll come back quicker. But some new combinations for the running.
Singer thought looked really good when he came on, though. I thought because you see Mark Jones speaking to him just before he came on, sort of because the defence looked a little bit leaky, I'd say, especially midfield. So, yeah, I thought he really shored up that area when he came on. And we haven't really got a chance to see much of him this season, so this should give us a good opportunity to take a look.
Let's hope he can have running games in the jersey. And lastly, in this news section, the plans for St Helens have been confirmed for next season going forward. This includes a variety of stands and other appropriations, which we'll go into more detail in a second. But it was real that after Lance Bradley decided to have a chat just before Connacht Game on Saturday which Nick, you attended. What were the vibes like at said chat?
It was really busy. It was in the Marlborough Lounge, and it was completely full. Unfortunately, unlike the stadium, and I think that was one of the main issues is that unfortunately, winning rugby, we're playing really well, but it isn't filling this, getting the crowds. So the focus, as he mentioned when he did the interview with us, is that it's more to trying to encourage, in particular, the fans who used to go back. And I do think, there has understandably been criticism of the Ospreys' attendance this year. I do think people have perhaps given up on going to the stadium more than giving up on watching live rugby in Swansea. So that's obviously a key focus. So they want to make sure that the actual experience is very, very positive. Obviously, we know it's going to be a artificial pitch, and he said it's very likely that the actual contract will be announced this week, and we will get to hear as well who's had it. The two stands at the either end will be temporary stands, demountable stands, as he termed them, one of which has already been bought and is in storage. They will actually take them down at the end of the season so that they can rent them out as extra income. I guess for things like concerts, pop concerts, perhaps golf tournaments. I don't know, but he felt there might be some ability to actually generate some extra income that way. One terrace will be one of the stands. Sorry, will be. I think that was at the city's town end, if you like, would be focused on family, and obviously the ticket prices would reflect that. The other end will be hopefully to appeal to students and younger people. That's going to be quite a raucous stand. That's the hope. They'll both have capacities about 2,000. Then obviously the terrace will be covered, and then they have secured with the work of the council. He said they're almost there. A permanent stand on the Mumbles Road. Obviously, that will allow the opportunity to have be glass fronted, so it'll be appealing to functions they're outside of rugby. So that's really positive. The other thing he mentioned is that they've looked at trying to increase income, and if it works, brilliant. Apparently, there is some interest already, based on examples from Exeter and Saracens and so on, where there'll be a very small section of this main stand with absolute premier seats and the full hospitality package for about 25 people. It's going to be quite very, very expensive. I think he mentioned about £10,000, but that's great if that extra income can be brought into the club coffers. All well and good. Yeah, that was it. It was positive. People asked some questions about the floodlights again, which he mentioned, and we actually got a mention that they'd heard it on the interview on the Eyrie. So it was positive, and I think overall people asked questions about its accessibility for disabled or people who are not very mobile, and he was able to reassure them about that. There's some questions about parking. They're working with the university as well as the rec, which is next to the St. Helens. So there will be more parking available. Obviously, they want to encourage people to walk up to the stadium or to use public transport as well. There were some questions about how that would work. So it was very positive. So I'll stop at that point, and if there's anything you want to ask me, and if I missed out, or any comments you want to make on what I've said so far.
Yeah, Nick, I did hear that there was comments around a retractable covered area for your average supporter, and some of the clubhouses being freed up for a higher level of membership as well.
Yeah, yes, that's quite right, Grant. He said that I think he probably, from the initial discussions they'd had, maybe with fans, that had been pointed out as being an issue. So they will have been able to have some positive quotes around a retractable roof, but it will also have heating for a cold Friday night in December as well. So that will be available. But obviously, when we start getting to this time of the year, and we do have hopefully some nice weather, it can be brought back as well. Yeah, the actual White Swansea Rugby Club current facilities will be upgraded, and that's where they will have, if you like, an enhanced season membership. The capacity of that will not allow all season ticket holders to get in, but if you have a certain level of ticket, you will be able to go in. The other thing he mentioned very much was that they're looking to, in that area, to enhance the post-match experience for fans, that even 15, 30 minutes after the game, final whistle, there'll be somebody available to talk through the data. He said the data and the analysis, if you like, is done by the team during the game, and it's available, immediately. So they would commit to getting somebody to come and do some sort of presentation. Again, it's trying to encourage fans to hang around after the game, spend a bit more money. So that's quite an innovative approach. That was interesting. And the season tickets question came up a few times. Obviously, it's difficult for people to commit when they don't know where they're going to be sitting. So they feel they have the capacity through computer generated artificial intelligence and so on, that in sort of the end of April, they will be able to offer fans, well, if you sit in such and such a seat, this is the view of the pitch you're going to get. So that's sort of in work in progress, but will be available. Yeah, I think that's about it, really. They're working closely, obviously, with the university, but also other clubs in the area to have lots of games and usage of the pitch, and that's why they've gone down the artificial route. But also, interestingly, they said that they've also been in touch with Welsh Rugby Union, and they will be looking in the future to hold under-20 games and women's internationals at the stadium. So anything that can increase the use and obviously the income that the club can make, I think was pretty good. So yeah, I think I've covered everything there.
So it's exciting times. It's a lot of things to look forward to. I can imagine the main stand, as I imagine it'll eventually be conformed to, overlooking the beach, and it's Friday night in the middle of March should just be glorious if the sun's out, and just make it a proper exciting match day to go to for both home and away fans, hopefully, in the future to come. It seems to be quite exciting, and it does also help that there's a lot of winning rugby going on, or hopefully there'll be even more winning rugby going on there next season. Like the win we just had this weekend against Connacht at home, as the Ospreys won 43-40 in what might be mentioned as a heart-wrencher. God, that was stressful. I mean, it certainly felt like there's a lot of standout performances, and it felt very Super Rugby-esque in that defense felt to be optional at some points. Who are your guys' standouts, Josh?
I think, as you can imagine, with a game that high scoring, I thought our back three was superb, especially in attack. I thought they linked together really well. Jack Walsh is in red hot form. I think did he assist 4 tries and
Yeah.
scored another?
Yeah.
Which is ridiculously good. I particularly was it the first try.
Yeah.
Where I think Postman Dan offloads to Walsh and then back inside to Keelan. And if you watch that try back, the support lines those two were running were superb. So yeah,
On that try, I want a special standout for that Dan Edwards pass that misses out basically the entire Connacht line, gets sent on the outside. Like if you see Finn Russell do that, TNT are posting about it for the next 6 months.
100%. I'm gutted he didn't get more game time for Wales in the Six Nations because we're going to see a lot more of that. But yeah, you're right. Absolutely superb pass. There's a sort of pass as a winger you'd probably love to receive. It's giving you loads of space, loads of opportunity. Just give you the ball earlier, give yourself one-on-ones against the opposition, and yeah, you'll always back yourself.
You know what? Sorry. You know what it
Yeah.
reminds me of? I think it was that Finn Russell pass against England in 2019. The one that Darcy Graham took on, or no, it was
Hugh Jones.
no, Scott Maitland.
Oh,
who took
right.
it and then gave it to Darcy Graham in the 38-all game at
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Twickenham, which it just loops, but it gives so much time for Cassende to run onto it and pick his line. It's just glorious.
Oh, yeah. No, awesome. Yeah. Yeah, no, back three, definitely really impressed. For me, defensively, I thought we were a bit concerning in the backs, I'd say.
A bit.
Yeah,
What, conceding 40 points at home? Yeah, there should be a little bit concerned.
yeah. It looked like we were. I've watched the highlights back because, to be honest with you, after the game, I was in such a blur. I was like, I'm not going to be able to remember any of that. And a lot of the tries, it seemed like we were constantly looking to blitz, even when they had numbers up. And if you're going to blitz and they've got numbers up, you have to stop the ball dead. And it seemed like it was quite easy for them to still get outside of our blitz, and then it was leaving Cassandre or Keelan Giles in a whole world of pain where they're facing three attackers running at them. Um, so I don't know if there's an element of hopefully we'll work for our defence this week, and get some of the cohesion back to what it has been.
Is that the Owen Watkin factor that, in terms of organised defence, you're going to miss someone like that, isn't it?
Oh,
yeah, I think there were system issues. I think we overcommitted, as you said, at times. The first try, I think, where Tips looked as if he was outgassed, which maybe there is an element of that, but it was also, I think, he overcommitted to Harry Langton, and it just you couldn't claim it was obstruction, but it just stopped him. Whereas if he hadn't committed so hard, he might have made that in tackle, which would have resulted. So there's a couple of those. The scrum half setup as well. We made a great break, Divine, when he came on. We should have, the pillars should have stopped that.
Yeah.
So fair play to him, and but we should have stopped that. So yes, defensively it wasn't our best performance, but I don't think there were issues. Hopefully, there are issues that we can resolve this week.
Watching it looked like a lot of individual errors as opposed to like a greater system issue, in that we're making incorrect reads going forward, which is when Connacht have like one of the most best attacks in the league this season. They've been free
Exactly, they're
flow.
not a bad team, are they? With
So
the
it's
ball in
like
hand.
they maybe underestimated how quickly they get it wide. Looking back, Josh Ioane had a great game going forward at least. And was when he was controlling things at 10, he was causing us issues. When JJ Hammercan came on, they had a dip for a bit and then sort of got back into it in the second half.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, I think he was really pulling the strings well first half, playing really flat to the line. So when our defenders were having to make decisions, it was last minute decisions. You have to commit yourself when you have a 10 who's going that flat to the line. I couldn't believe when they had an injury and they moved him to the wing. I thought that was an absolutely dreadful decision because I think we scored at least 2 tries off the back of him playing on the wing. Because
it's kick to him on exit, Harry kick out, and then immediate counter for both Cassende's first and Kieran Harley's try.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, I think he's very much a good 10 in attack, but defense optional. Which is kind of how I play as well, to be honest. But I think it's one of those where obviously defensively it was concerning, especially seeing as Scarlets like to play with width themselves and play a similar sort of style to Connacht. But it means at least we found that out a week early. We don't want to be finding out that there's issues in your defensive game in the Scarlets back-to-back double header. You'd imagine now they'll put a real focus on it this week and it'll be fixed by next weekend, hopefully.
Yeah, and we got away with it, didn't we?
Yeah.
Just got away with it.
Yeah.
To be fair, that defensive set at the end, that
great.
last one ended by a very illegal Morgan Morris turnover.
just sorry.
Awesome, because we started it on our 10-15 meters out, and we finished it sort of on the 10-meter line.
Sorry, one of the things I should have mentioned from that happened on Saturday was Lance Bradley did give us a little bit of an update on some data, but it was nothing really that wasn't borne out in this match or wasn't borne out what we haven't discussed on the Eyrie before. we are moving the ball wider. There's no doubt about that. The stats back that up. We are making more meters and we are scoring more tries. But it's based on the foundations that Toby put in place. But it's nice to see us evolving, as we've said already. So that was the other thing he mentioned.
Yeah. What was the atmosphere like in the stadium? Obviously, I was watching from home, sweating on my sofa. But yeah, how was it in the stadium? Was it equally nervy in the stadium?
Well, the last 10 minutes, yeah. When you look at the bench cam, have you seen the clip of the bench cam right at the
Yeah.
end of the game? Well, pretty much the entire East stand were like that in terms of, I spent, well, probably half the last 2 minutes looking behind me, having a chat with the guy saying, I can't look anymore. I can't do this. Yeah,
What was great to see, though, is how involved the players were. Obviously, it was very nervy. I thought Dan Edwards had an understated game, but those two passes he made, set up tries, as Zach has mentioned. But to see how involved they all were, but particularly Dan Edwards was at the end, it was great, and it shows the togetherness of the team.
It's a standout performance, at least for the last 5 minutes. It felt like Kieran Hardy came on with a point to prove as well. It felt like I think he made 3 try-saving tackles or something in the last 10 minutes, which is immense for a scrum half who
he had a really good game. He had the lines he's running and tracking when we're making a break. Okay, he's finding it easy again at the moment, which looks good. He says he's out of form a bit. Okay, and you look at the way he's playing at the moment, he's absolutely outstanding.
I think he mentioned in some media piece that he's enjoying his rugby again at the Ospreys, unlike he was at the Scarlets, which is extremely good banter. We love to see it. It's right what you want to hear right before Derby Day. But that probably says something a lot to the culture that both Toby Booth and Mark Jones have dignified in the club, and that lets these players come in and have fun effectively.
I think we've already mentioned it, but wasn't it nice to see Adam Beard back, though, and that
He was a
leadership he brought?
menace.
He was
He was
immense.
a menace. I
And to
think
play for 80 minutes as well
yeah.
on his first game back. I know it wasn't planned, but he didn't, and he had a superb game. And Sam Parry as captain as well.
Yeah.
Possibly questioned when we had an opportunity for another 3 points, why we didn't just take that, but there we are. He went to the corner.
Possibly, Nick. The last 10 minutes would have been a lot less stressful if we'd taken those 3 points.
Yeah.
I don't.
Another thing perhaps we might need to work on this week, and maybe some credit needs to go to Connacht as well, is that we perhaps need to look again at how we, even if they're being illegal, deal with teams who are stopping our driving line out. Because I think it is something, if we get right, it's something we could look at for the rest of the season as a further weapon in our armory.
To be fair to Connacht have the best line-up defence in the season, in the league this season. And that's just understated by how much work they did, and it looked like it did. The fact we won so much line-up ball to begin with is a testament to how well it worked. Even if our driving mauls weren't as we'd like, we still took plenty of opportunities. Like I remember that we still scored 43 points, magic number and all that. Just seems to be lucky for us nowadays.
It does. And also, if we'd have said we'd have upped last week, I think we would have all most definitely been absolutely delighted with 5 points. Okay, we could have won it easier, but and also to back up the Glasgow result as well. So that that's we've had 10 points in the last 2 games, and that's all you can ask for, isn't it?
If you told me at the start of the season that in a fixture block where we played Benetton, Leinster, Glasgow, and Connacht, we'd get 16 points out of that, I would have bitten your hand off.
Yeah, definitely.
Quite frankly, it would have been. I think the run of form we're in is immense. At the end of the day, the Scarlets fans are calling us title contenders. They quote Hugh Griffin on Twitter, or Hugh Griffin on the URC pod on the Rap channel, which you should check out now. It's a good watch that.
He's saying it through gritted teeth, is our Hugh, though.
Yeah, but that's how you know it's true. But I think it's honestly, it's a nice performance to come out with at the end of the day. Result done in the end. Not how we'd have liked it, but I'm not gonna complain. I will give one more shout out to Morgan Morse, who, despite not being as flashy, had an immense game. I think he made top tackler in the game where tackling felt optional, and also I think 2 turnovers as well, one of which directly leading to the Kasende try. Just the proper workhouse performance. It's really nice to see how he's come along. I will ask a question on Twitter later of who would you prefer to have in your team? Freddie Douglas, Morgan Morse, or Henry Pollock, as it seems they're 3 very similar players and how they approach it. But I think that would be a discussion for another time.
I think we'd be pretty biased on here as well.
Yeah, I don't think we're the right people to ask.
Yeah.
I think it's a,
Only one answer, yeah.
someone chuck up my rugby union subreddit and just see what terrible opinions happen. I think let's move on then and have a look at some of the other results from the weekend around in the community. Or Nick.
Yeah, sure. Admiral National League 1 West, Montedillice 17, Pencloud 10, West Central, Birchgrove 9, Lance Westlawn 16, Bridgend Athletic and Aberafon Green Stars had a real ding-dong game with the Athletic coming out to 42 over 40. Bilthwells 20, Swansea Uplands 32, so that was a good win, going all the way up to both. Vardra and Skewin, I think they're very close together there, but Skewin came out on top 34-14. West Central, Abercrave 32, Brinkethin 17, Brynamon 32, Aberafon Quins 26, another really good game. Hoyle Q had a good win over Pencoed 51-5. Resolving at Anputhcall, another really good game. Resolving home team came out on top 28-23. West Central, Brincoch 45, Baglan 25, Nantamoyle 24, and Tonner 28. Good away win that, and another close game. Carmarthen 49, Tonmawd 26, Neath Athletic 34, South Gower 10, and West Central, Pontardawe 15, Rigos 50. Maesteg had a good win, 54-5 over Pontrhy de Ven. Seven Sisters also had a good win over Britton Ferry, 52-17. And then we come to West Central Division 5. Cwmllyfnich 10, Taibach 37. Banwen 59, Pile 8. Penlan, nothing, unusual not to score. Bottom line came over to the top of Swansea there and won 13-0. Dunwent Athletic 60, Lincorrug 14, and if you're not a Welsh speaker, these 2 teams have got the best names when you translate them into English. The Valley of the Wild Boar, Cwm Turch 23, against the Valley of the Witches, Cwm Gwrach 13. So 23-13 to Cwm Turch. West Central, Cymach 31, Gorseinon 26. Glynneath and Gowerton had a really good game, but Glynneath came out on top 48-31. Maesteg Quinn 7, Kevnig Hill 59. Tarsa Steel against Llanelli Wanderers, and unfortunately Tarsa Steel lost 29-38. Trebanos 41, Dunmond 31, so another high scoring game there. Ystalyfera 18, Tom D 29, and in the WRU Premiership, Bargoed 24, Neath 26, and Narbeth 22, Bonamine 6. So quite a lot of fixtures played last weekend.
You know what? It's a lot of funny is the wrong word. A lot of good results there, to be fair.
Yeah, some good games by the sound of it.
Yeah. If you can get down to watch them, I'd recommend it. I wish I could, to be honest. Something I'll be looking forward to. But it might be worth looking forward to the other big derby this weekend. Scarlets away, gents. How are we feeling about it? I don't see a reason not to be confident, but also terrified at the exact same time.
You said that, okay, and if I raise my hands, I can see they now tight together and can't let go. Yeah, there's always pressure in games like this, and we should be confident. We need to sort our defence out.
Big time, especially against that Scarlet's attack.
Yeah.
I think they lack in a lot of areas, but I think they are very creative and they've got a dangerous back three. So, yeah, it's going to test us.
The entire back five, 11 to 15, is just silly good. Like,
Yeah.
I think they're struggling a bit with Johan Lloyd has many attributes, but controlling a game isn't one. And I think maybe that's where we can get at them. And they don't seem to have a lot of confidence in other options at 9 and 10. Archie Hughes was muted to be the next big thing for whatever reason. I know he's come back from injury, but they're quite reluctant to get him on. Whether he's not been fully fit, I don't know. So I think there are opportunities, and possibly we might need to mix our game a bit. And I would look to try and hopefully if we can get the scrum isn't their strongest. So if we can get certainly if Tom Beaufort and is fit, even if he's on the bench and Ben Warren starts, I would assume Gareth Thomas will start, Dewi will start, hopefully. I think we can get on top up front. And I think that'll be key for us to win in the game away from home.
Big time. I think they lack massively in big carriers as well. I think they got some top quality players like Fafita, Lousy, but they struggle to get over the game line. I think their biggest weakness is Johan Lloyd at 10. They've only, they don't seem to have any sort of faith in Charlie Titcombe at all. And obviously Costello doesn't look like he's going to be fit for these derbies. But yeah, I know obviously we'll speak from Ospreys perspective, from Scarlet's perspective, I have no idea why they haven't signed another 10. They've signed Joe Hawkins, which is going to be exactly the same problem, where he's not a 10. He'll be a 12 filling in at 10. But yeah, they just seem to lack game control. And you can always tell when they're in those tight games that they're gonna drop off, they're gonna lose it. I don't know if you watched the Stormers game the weekend, but it always felt like they were going to lose that game. It always felt like they were going to lose control. It was the same a few weeks earlier against Ulster. They just lacked control at the key times. Obviously Gareth Davis is quality. He's got a lot of experience, but I still think a 10 is a massive weakness for them.
I think their reluctance to start Archie Hughes is probably the biggest downfall. I don't think Archie Hughes quite has the nous of controlling game like Gareth Davis can do. And I imagine it's partly why they can't see out the last 10 minutes. And Pence don't trust Archie Hughes to start, which is a really horrible place to be in as a young player. Just sort of feel bad. I feel bad for a lot of the Scarlets, to be fair.
I think obviously one of the other things that's worked really well for us is off kickoffs, and so is Cassandra getting up there, and I think we can put pressure on them there in that respect, getting them up into the air, and they're usually good for a yellow card, the Scarlets, aren't they?
Mainly at scrum time, which watching the Stormers game at the weekend, they were pretty awful. All about it was if I can't imagine being a Scarlets fan and having to watch that every week, it reminds me of the Alan Clark era.
Yeah. Having said that, did you see ex-Osprey Van der Merwe? How good was he? The hooker, Magnus.
He's a very good player.
He's an Osprey project, not a Scarlets player.
Exactly. Taught him everything he knows.
Exactly. But he was awesome. He was very good. Stand out in a pretty uninspiring performance, which is why I'm really not confident about this weekend coming. They're gonna pull it out. I just feel it.
My worry as well is they'll probably go Eddie James, Joe Roberts in the centres, who are quite an established centre partnership now, and we could end up with, I don't know, Fokinasing and Naif Levu playing together for the first time. Obviously quite experienced in other ways, but yeah, and they haven't played together before, and our defence was looking shaky to begin with. So that kind of worries me.
I've got a sort of theory. I think whoever wins on Saturday will lose the following week. I can't see. I don't think. I'm not sure that either team. That's me by probably my normal pessimism, but I just got a funny feeling. I can't. I'd be brilliant if we do, but I'm not sure if either team's going to win both.
Are you going to say that if we win the first one?
Oh no! No, we'll cut this bit out of the program.
I think if I don't see even battering us, quite frankly, but if in a world that we batter them at Parker Scarlets, I could see us winning both in a row, but I don't see it being tight twice and getting out of it twice either. Something would have to go wrong. Mainly Costello would come back into the mix 2 weeks early for no reason and score a last minute drop goal or something.
It's not very often we've seen an Ospreys Scarlets game where both sides put in a high score. The way we are playing and the way they're playing at the moment, it might be quite an unusual sort of scoreline when we look at it at the end.
And I think the long range focus isn't too bad either, so it could well be a day like where it is here now. So it's dry conditions. So yeah, it'll be. I think it'll be a tense game. These sort of derbies aren't they? If great if it's exciting, but one thing it will be is tense. And they've I think they've sold quite a lot of tickets, so it could be approaching 10,000 crowds. So hopefully get as many Osprey fans there as well, and hopefully there's a good atmosphere and a good game for everybody, and we win.
So hopefully when we should have Jack Morgan, Derry Lake, Gar Tom coming back in. It'd be nice. I mean, we can start theorising about the team that we'd like to see at least coming in. So shall we start in the front row? Is it just as simple as Gar Tom, Sam Parry, both if fit, if not Ben Warren?
I think so.
I'd agree with that. Yeah.
Well, I think Derry Lake would be great to have back in. I don't know if he's fit enough to start yet.
Yeah, but what a guy to come off the bench as well, isn't it?
Exactly. I love having someone like Davide coming off the bench because you imagine playing that, you're already exhausted as a forward, and then you see this massive Dowie Lake full of energy coming on.
Yeah.
Built different.
Exactly.
I think that second row, I think, is also fairly simple. You just keep Adam Beard and James Ratty.
But you've got options with Spencer as well.
Yeah.
If Ender was fit, he's in contention. You got 2 from 4 there, haven't you?
Yeah.
We've got 2 games coming up in a row against them. Depending on who's fit, you can probably see a little bit of rotation there.
I think so.
And that back row is probably a little bit difficult, depending on fitness of Tristan
I
Davis.
think Dave should be
Tips.
okay this week, shouldn't he? Hopefully.
I was going to say, picked up a head knock in the Gloucester training session.
Yeah,
So I don't know if he's back from it yet.
No, but if he's back and with Jack and one of the Morgans then at 8, I'm happy with that.
I'd be tempted to go for the triple Morgan back row.
Okay.
Morse, Jack and Morris, and then bring Deves off the bench.
Yeah.
If need be, or Morgan Morse off the bench, where he's seemed so effective this season, coming on, changing the game with Dewey Lake.
You might want a bit of experience because it is, it's going to be a partisan crowd, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you might want Morgan Morris starting. If it was a shootout between him and Morgan Morse, I think I'd be inclined to go for the more experienced player to start.
This is a surreal conversation, so I'm assuming we've done this because Tips might not be fit, but I've never heard a conversation where we're not talking about Tips.
Yeah,
if Tips is fit, for me, he definitely plays.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's an if.
Yeah,
which is,
I suppose, with a back spasm, it's either not too bad or it can put you out for weeks, couldn't it?
Yeah.
I think if Tips is fit, I would be tempted to go 6-2 and have Morse and Deves to come on for the last 20.
Yeah, with Derry.
Yeah, could you imagine? And then if Rhys Davis is fit as well, chuck Rhys Davis on for the last 25 as well.
Just lamping every Scarlets player around, getting into fights, it'd be great.
Exactly.
I think forward pack feels pretty strong either way. Questions about replacement tight head, but
Well, it's time for Ben Warren if he is called into action to show that he is maturing because I feel and he is, but I'm very pleased the way Gavin Phillips has developed over the course of the season. He really does look the real deal as a young loose head. So it's if Ben starts, he needs to show that he can hold his own in the scrum and contribute around the rest of the field as well.
To be fair, he's had what 7 weeks of bomb. He's
Yeah,
been working under Duncan
exactly.
Jones, who are probably the two best scrum coaches in Europe nowadays.
Yeah, and as I think we put in the WhatsApp group, the one area that Scarlets aren't the strongest is in the scrum.
Yeah.
So
I think Hepburn's definitely someone you can target at scrum time. He's decent in the loose, but he's not the biggest of loose heads.
No.
let's hope we can get some dominance going forward. Then backs, I think, are fairly self-explanatory. Where it's Hardy starting, surely, right, on current form, with Danny Eds outside.
Yeah.
Centre combinations are, I think, very simply who's fit. I imagine they might. I don't think Nice Levy will be back, or they won't want to jump in immediately if he is. And obviously, wish him the best with his personal stuff at the end of the day.
Sure.
I think he just sort it out. But I can imagine Cocknessinger and Boshoff coming in. Cocknessinger looks like quite good, wanted to get into it, but it did look like a man who hadn't played much rugby. It'd be nice to see him get 60, 70 minutes in his legs.
Do you see any mileage in playing Mr. Combier against his old team?
Yes, I think he's also someone who mentioned how much he was enjoying his rugby here compared to at Scarlets, and I think he's just fair to have a fight. I think him and Kasende,
Yeah, give Keelan a break, yeah.
give Keelan a break. Kasende's played, I think, every minute that he's been around for, but give Keelan a break and let Kasende fight someone, as always.
Yeah, you're not even going to mention who should be playing fullback there.
No, it should be
Should have given
form fullback in Wales, if not the league at the moment.
Yeah.
He's finding rugby easy at the moment, isn't he?
Yeah.
He is loving life. It'd be. I hope he doesn't get called up to the Australia squad simply so he can be called up to a Wales squad in a couple of years' time when he is eligible. At this point.
Yeah, I think he's eligible just before the next World Cup. So
Yeah.
bring him in.
I could see it like training camp, 10 puncture out of nowhere.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be awesome.
It'd be. I don't know. I think that's a strong enough 15 to beat any Scarlets team they can put out realistically. But it's just.
Oh, don't say things to God.
I'd rather tempt fate and be wrong than say we're going to lose to the Scarlets. Let's be honest.
Fair enough.
I think it seems strong enough. Let's end things off then with a score prediction of something funny that's going to happen in the game. And it can't involve any of us lamping them. Nick, do you want to start us off?
I'll go us by 2 points. Be a close, tense game. I don't know if it's going to be a 4-5 try each sort of game. I think it'll be tighter than people think. Funny thing that happens. Can you come back to me on that one?
Yeah, sure. Josh?
I'm going to go Ospreys by 3. And I think Harry Deves and Van der Merwe are going to get into a fight, and both of them are going to get yellow carded for it.
Grant?
I think we'll score 43.
Wow. The magic number.
Yeah, the magic number. I'd like to think the Scars won't get into the 40s.
Ospreys by 4 then.
Yeah.
Well then, Josh. Zach, sorry.
I think Ospreys by 5 in that sort of like the Dragons result where we just put out a bullshit try in the 78th minute to win it.
Time for interception try from the Ospreys, is it?
I'm thinking turnover and run it over from 50 metres out. Exactly like how the Ulster tighthead scored against the Dragons at the weekend.
Yeah. I've got my funny moment now.
Oh, yeah?
Once again, it falls upon Adam Beard to kick the ball out to win the game. he kicks it into the stand and it lands on David Yuan, who's been there pre-match.
Yeah, no, yeah. I think that sums it up of what we're expecting this weekend. Hopefully, we can beat the least serious team in the league by enough of a margin that it matters, and hopefully we can enjoy it on the way. So, as a result, let's say thank you for listening. If you have enjoyed what you've listened to, feel free to subscribe to the Ospreys Eyrie on whatever platform you're listening to. I think we're at, or the Wrap in general. If you're on YouTube, I think we've got 1,700 subscribers or something like that, pushing towards 2K. Be a really big milestone for us to hit. And any interaction you want, feel free to follow us on Twitter, Blue Sky. At the end of the day, we'll want to hear your thoughts. Thank you all for watching. We'll hopefully see you next week with some more good news. Goodbye.